Last week, we passed the torch to Bridget Riley in England, and this week, Green Crayon and I are very excited to head over to Philadelphia and Pennsylvania in the United States. Green Crayon, are you ready? I'm really ready. Both states are in the continent North America and home to the art form modern graffiti art and pop art. Modern graffiti art was started in the 1960s by 12-year-old artist Daryl Cornbread McRae. Modern graffiti art uses a combination of words and simple images to name or tag an area and claim as their own. By the 1970s, modern graffiti art had reached New York and shifted from simple images to bright, bold colors, which are similar to that of pop art. Pop art made its mark in history with artists like Andy Warhol and Keith Haring and uses bright, bold colors. Let's merge these two art forms. K to 2 friends, we will create our version of Keith Haring's dancing figures. Third to 5th friends, we will add more elements of graffiti art into our Keith Haring inspired work. And our middle school friends, let's celebrate creating a modern graffiti art piece inspired by dance. I'll see y'all on the drawing board. Hey friends, today we're going to do a spin on modern graffiti. And modern graffiti started off in Philadelphia in the early 1960s, and by the late 60s it had reached New York. The art form really took a spin in the 1970s when people began writing their names or even tags all over buildings, all over the city. So today we're going to add a little spin, and we're going to incorporate a dancing figure, or 2 dancing figures I should say, from Keith Haring's dancing figures. For today's lesson, we will need a blank sheet of paper, a pencil, an eraser, a Sharpie marker, and of course your choice of any of the following mediums. It could be color pencils, crayons, or markers to add our bold color. So I'm going to go ahead and clear my board. We're going to start off right in the middle, and I want to write the word music across here, and I also want to create a couple of music notes as well. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my music note out first. Now I'm going to make this a little bit bolder. So I'm using the original lines as sort of like a base, so I know where my lines are going to go. Now I'm going to erase the original drawing, or the original line. Go ahead and write the word music. So just like we did before, I want to write the M. I'm going to spell our word music out. U S I C. And now, using what I already drew, I'm going to draw an outline around these letters. And this is going to be my lettering that I'm going to attach. Here's my M.
I'm also going to make it look a little bit on the three-dimensional side. So I'm going to add a couple extra lines. And now I'm going to erase the original M. Move on to the U. I want the U to look like it disappeared behind the S, so I'm going to go ahead and draw in my S. That S is going to disappear behind the U now. Going to add a couple extra lines so that my S looks 3D. And I also want my U to look 3D. Let's outline the I. Make our I look 3D. Erase the original I. Draw in our C. And erase the original letter C. Now I want my C to also look 3D. Okay, I'm going to pause here real quick and go ahead and outline this with my Sharpie. A lot of times when we are doing graffiti letters, we like to make our letters look a little bit more on the three-dimensional side. And we do that by adding a slightly thicker border. Not all the way through, but most parts of your letter for it to really stand out. You want it to sort of pop a little bit better. It's my original U, and now this is going to be the part where it looks a little more 3D. Same with the S. It's your original S. And now we're going to add our little shadow that makes our letter look a little bit more three-dimensional. we want our note to look a little bit more 3D, we want to also add a little shadow to it. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and add in a couple of Keith Haring's dancing figures. So we'll draw a small head, arms, the body, and of course some legs. So now we want to double up on this. So we're going to outline what we just drew. And now I'm going to erase the original outline of my dancing figure. Let's bring this head a little more. There's one, and I'm going to add another figure over here. Same thing. Draw the head, arms, and now I'm going to outline. Okay, and let's add some lines. Keith Haring loved to add lines that illustrate movement. So we know our figures are dancing. So these just help tell a little extra story. So I'm going to go ahead and outline. And I'm going to give my figures a little bit more of a shadow so that they look like they belong to my graffiti wall. Okay, let's erase some of these extra lines. we are ready to add color, friends.
Sunrise, be free to run. Sunrise over your head, be free to jump.
Okay, so we want to go back with our pencil and we're going to create a highlight, a very graphic highlight, if you would, of our word music. And in our highlights, we're also going to add our 3D parts. Outline with our Sharpie. I'm going to take my eraser and I'm just going to erase some of these unwanted lines. Okay, and we have just our background. We have two different backgrounds. We have our background for our word music, and then we also have the wall background that we have to finish. So let's go ahead and select a color. I think I'm going to use a very light purple today. And this is going to be for our background for the word music. What I do when I add color is, especially when I'm using a color pencil, is I go back into the areas where it looks a little bit more streaky, if you would, and I can actually see my pencil lines and the direction that I've colored, and I try to go over the area in a circular motion, and that way I can fill up the white spaces that I may have accidentally left behind the first time around, and then that way my drawing or my illustration looks a little bit more uniformed. Okay, and I'm going to use a crayon for the rest of my background. I love using a crayon because it really gives a nice textured look, especially when working with graffiti and graffiti style art. And again, remember what I just said, like to cross-reference your color, that way your lines or your spaces are filled in way better and you're not left with lots of white spaces. I call it coloring in both directions. You can do horizontal lines, and then you can cross-reference it with vertical lines, and it really fills in a lot of that white space that you may see. And then your drawing actually looks like it's more on the printed side. One direction of line, and I'm going to turn it around and fill in the other direction. There we have it, friends. Our graffiti drawing illustrating the word music and Keith Haring's dancing figures.
That was amazing work. Green Crayon is super impressed. He is. I can't wait to see these art pieces. Till next time, take care. Bye. Bye. Green Crayon cracks me up.